Hello and welcome to this episode of Addicted to Business. Today I am joined by Anthony from Studio Hawk. Studio Hawk are Australia's dedicated SEO agency. Have I got that right?
Well, largest dedicated SEO agency.
Nathan's got it.
And you've flown all the way from Australia to be with us today, is that right?
To be here.
Just to Addicted to Business. We've used our whole podcasting budget on flying him over here. But in all seriousness, mate, thank you. For you to come
really
out and see us is absolutely awesome. I know, slight spoiler alert, you're no longer living in Australia, you're currently living in London, but that's still a hell of a trek, right?
2 hours, right?
Yeah, exactly right.
No, for sure.
The Addicted to Business is going global, and I'm delighted you can join us. So top man. Thank you. So today we're going to talk about your startup story, because actually I appreciate it's not your company as such. You've been involved right at the start, though, and I'm interested to see a startup story. We try and do a startup story in every series, right? But I want a startup story that isn't from the founder. Okay, so someone that's seen it from a different view, but has been there right from the start. And actually, for you guys to grow in the way you have, to become Australia's largest dedicated SEO agency, is some feat. And then to be able to go global and not just go, oh, we're going to pop into New Zealand or we're going to go somewhere in Southeast Asia, but go, no, we're going to go the other side of the world and now try and dominate London. Like, fair play. So tell us, mate, how did you start?
Mate, so Studio Hawk was started by Harry Sanders back in 2016. He was only a 17, 18-year-old kid. He had worked for 2 digital agencies as the head of search after teaching himself SEO from the age of 14. And I joined the company in started 2018. And Studio Hawk, I was the 3rd employee there. We had about 20 clients when I joined. Small time, small fry. You know, it was just Harry and Jake just trying to go through and just get by. I joined as a junior. I had no idea about SEO. I learned from the bottom. I learned as a junior, auditing websites, seeing terrible ones, seeing good ones, and figuring it out. It took me a few months for it to click, but I learned by doing the grunt work and learnt from the bottom under the guidance of Harry and Jake. I was the, so as I said, I was the 3rd employee, and then we started with SME business, but as we grew, we then moved towards enterprise level clients. That journey seems to be quick. 2 years, it seems to be quick, but there's a bloody lot of hard work in that.
Yeah, but it felt long as well, right?
Mate, it feels like I've been there for 10 years. And my 2-year anniversary was last Friday, and I'm like,
congratulations.
Where did the time go?
Did you have a little celebration or?
No, nothing. They just
10 years?
Oh, mate, they've packed you off to London by yourself. Happy birthday.
Yeah, well, let's go for a beer.
Mate, for sure. But Studio Hawk, its base is SME SEO. We do one thing, we do it well. We thought there's all these all-in-one agencies, and the landscape of Australia is just everyone's doing it all. Jack of all trades, I'll do it all for you. But SEO is already a very laborious industry, and it's very technical. So you can't just have some average Joe just doing a few little things here and there and thinking that's going to get results. So we said, hey, you don't get a plumber to do your electrical work. We're going to do this one thing, we'll do it right. And Studio Hawk has grown in leaps and bounds when I was there. So I was saying there's 20 clients when I joined. By the end of 2018, we had over 100 clients. We had 11 staff to end that year in 2018. By the end of 2019, we had 18 staff and over 220 odd clients, ranging from your local plumber all the way to Australia's largest retailer in Officeworks. So it's been a rapid 2 years for me, 5 years for Studio Hawk overall. And to see it come to fruition after I just joined thinking, I don't know, I'll learn something new in this. Yeah. You know, I'm a bit of a dinosaur when it comes to the computers, and I thought this is a great opportunity to learn something new and build a career. And I had eyes wide open going into it, and I thought I'll just take this on. And yeah, in 2 years for me, I've gone from absolutely nothing to talking to you guys here in Norwich.
I mean,
from Australia to Norwich.
Yeah, glamorous. So what I think today, I'm conscious we've got around 15-20 minutes today, and I appreciate your time's of the essence as well. So what I wanted to discuss is, as an outsider, there's going to be a lot of people watching and listening, right, that are wanting to know how to start a business and are ready to take the leap but are just waiting for that final push. Why has Studio Hawk been such a success? What do you put it down to?
I think for us, we know what we're offering. We have a clear offering of what we do. We haven't reinvented the wheel when it comes to SEO. We've just taken advantage of most other people in the industry doing things wrong. Cowboys, locked in contracts, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So essentially, it seems like we are amazing, but we are just doing the right thing. We're doing SEO best practice. We're open and honest. We tell you if it's good. We tell you if it's not, and that has led us to win some awards and be Australia's largest dedicated SEO agency. So it's literally doing the right thing, knowing your product offering. Don't go outside of your scope. If you're good at that thing, you're good at that thing.
Stay in your swim lane, right?
Stay in your swim lane, mate.
Yeah.
And get people around you who can then use their skills to then fill those gaps that you have. Whether that be the business side, get some mentors in that can guide you in the right direction, because a lot of startup businesses fail in the first couple of years.
Yep.
So you want to get those people who have done it before, have seen it before. There's people who are not the best at everything in SEO, but you train those. You get those people who are, might be a bit more technical, and they might take the on-site stuff more. Your backlink type, your backlink people, your marketing. Get people who know what they're doing in those. To fill in those gaps, because we can't do it all, and if you try and do it all, you'll get nowhere.
Absolutely right. So that's, I guess, the first thing is you've really understood your proposition and you've niched down and said, this is it, we're going to hang our hat on SEO, and that's what we've become known for, and the results have been a testament to that, right? In terms of mindset, this is a quite a tricky one. I guess you can't get in the mind of Harry or any of the founders, but have you seen something different in his mindset and his attitudes and behaviours than you have in other kind of businesses? Because when I had the opportunity to meet him in London, there just seems something a little bit different about him.
Yeah, he's an interesting character, and I give you that. But I think the thing for Harry, and I've taken this approach, is, and that's what we do at Studio Hawk, is you're never going to get anywhere by abusing a staff member or telling them they're wrong. It's always a learning opportunity. There's always an opportunity to learn and make it a growth opportunity. No one ever likes to be shouted at. No one ever likes to be told you're an idiot.
Yeah.
It's always, doesn't matter if they break a website, use that as an opportunity to teach them to grow. They will gain confidence of that.
Yeah.
Constructive criticism, but you're using it as a growth opportunity for them and for yourself, because people resonate with with that good advice and showcasing that support. They're not going to resonate being yelled at. So I've taken Harry's probably shown that, and we've spread that through Studio Hawk of be nice to people, showcase them the way, let them jump in the deep end for a bit. Yeah. And you're there as a support. But if they get it wrong, they get it wrong, and we use it as a teaching moment and not to berate them, because you get nowhere by berating them.
So you think that's been a key element of Studio Hawk's success?
Supporting your people. Support your people. If you're going to invest the time and the money and to train them the right way and to fit into your culture, make them feel loved, make them feel appreciated, because you will get more out of them, but they'll also feel like they can come to you with anything. They could have, broken a website, stuffed the client, whatever it could be, but they have confidence in you as a leader. Yeah. So that can go to you for anything.
One thing I really like about your journey, Anthony, is that yes, you were early on in Australia, but then I'm sure you won't mind me sharing, your personal circumstances changed, and it looked like that you may have to come to the UK. And many businesses at that point would have said, that's great, but yeah, we're an Australian-based business. Best of luck and keep in touch. But no, those guys were like, actually, opportunity here. We trust in our people. We will send you over to the UK and give you a chance to set up the UK branch. Like, that is phenomenal.
That's probably my case in point of throwing me in the deep end to the UK.
That proves the culture of the company, doesn't it?
And that's what he's done. We could have, my initial talks with him when I was going to London was, we could set up a satellite office. I'd just be doing the same role, or see you later, mate. Good luck to you. But came to the agreement, and Harry was right, where we wanted to expand to London, give myself the opportunity to open this office, and it has made, even in this 6 months, it's made me grow as a person. It's opened my eyes up to so many things. And I can't wait to see what this next few years has along the journey.
That sounds like a football interview.
Is it going 2 halves?
Yeah, I played all right first half. So if we talk about your personal journey for a bit, again, so this is in essence your baby, right? London is your baby, and coming to the UK and coming to a foreign territory, that's hugely daunting for anyone, knowing nobody, blah, blah, blah. What have you done to allow Studio Hawk to start getting a footprint in the UK? I know one thing you've done particularly well is you've networked and you've met a lot of people. What else have you been doing that's allowed you to create your footprint?
I think for us, you've got to when you're coming into a new market, you've got to craft your message. Even though we're quite similar, Australia and the UK, there are subtle differences, and we're coming into a saturated market. And again, SEO, everyone, a lot of people have heard of it. They get their cold call emails. How are you going to stand out? So for me, I've crafted the pitch to be make SEO simple, make it understandable. Because if clients and business owners can understand something as technical as SEO, they see the value in the work that you do, and they'll buy into it more. So I think, for me, crafting the pitch that they understand what I do. Secondly is a lot of networking. For us, SMEs are the base, so putting myself in the room to then attract or to get around to those business owners, whether that be things like networking groups like Pimento or BNI, things that I've joined, to then be in the room with those business owners, not only to directly sell to them, but to also get to know them, be friends with them, and you then get to share their networks. That's what I'd say, is you just being genuine, getting around people and getting to know them genuinely so that they can open up their networks to you.
Okay. And how have you found the difference? Because you said it's slightly similar, but surely there are some differences between selling to the Australian market and to the London market. How have you found that difference, the challenge of that?
I think in the early days here, a lot of people have been hesitant because of political situations, the election and Brexit and things like that, and they've just been in essentially a holding pattern, don't know where to go, what's going to happen, what do I do? So people are a bit more wary about spending cash, essentially. In Australia, for me, my experience have been a bit easier to sell to in that SME level, especially if you educate them and tell them what you're doing. They understand what you're doing, and they see, oh, this is actually quite valuable. Awesome. Yeah. Here it's a bit harder. You got to chase them a bit more. They might just ghost you. And you don't want to seem too pushy, especially as a digital marketer, because they get enough spam emails as it is.
Yeah.
So it's just that balance of chasing up those leads, just being genuine and understanding from their point of view, because your offering or SEO or whatever it is might not be ready for them, but it's just having that understanding more so while they're a bit more chill back in Australia.
So what would you do differently if you were to go back? What is it now? 12 months? Less?
Less, just 6 months.
6 months. So you go back, so I mean, like you say, not long at all, but if you could go 6 months back in time, would you approach things slightly differently or not?
I would. I like the pitch that we've got going, but I think I would probably just put myself, as weird as this sounds, I'll put myself out there even more and do even more networking. And
sales is a contact sport, right? You've got to have those conversations.
Yeah, and probably doing that more. I've done that a lot, but I would do that more so if I were to go back.
Okay. And so what does the next 6 months hold for Studio Hawk?
The next 6 months is probably getting another 5 or so clients in the door. Yeah. And looking towards hiring our first junior. We've got patience with our UK operation. We're not going to go all guns blazing because we are in a saturated market, and we have to spend our resources wisely. But getting our first hire on board, our first British talent on board, and getting some more clients in the door.
I mean, that would be a huge achievement, right? In 12 months to take on your first hire in a foreign country is phenomenal.
Mate, be a great. Can't wait for it.
So how are you developing yourself as a leader? Because that's a really interesting thing, which a lot of people watching and listening will be able to relate to, right? Is actually that, not only have you gone on a remarkable journey, but you need to keep pushing the boundaries and keep pushing forwards. So how do you develop yourself?
For me, I've read a lot more, reading a lot of books. Great book that you've recommended, which is Agencynomics. Great read.
It's not there today.
Oh. No!
I think we've given it out.
No! I'm giving away too many copies.
I've given it a plug. But that was a great book.
Brilliant.
And for me, it's just always thinking of the other person's viewpoint. Like I was saying before, how Studio Hawk has grown is using every moment as a teaching moment. Everybody's human, and you always want to make them feel welcome. So for me, it doesn't matter if I'm just meeting you for the first time, handshake, smile. You just put even something as simple as a smile, walk into a networking room. And, networking might be daunting for some people, but for me, put a handshake, smile, go up to them. They might be looking around aimlessly in the room, but things like that can make their day, and you can make a great connection.
Right?
Yeah. So things like that to grow myself, just even little changes, smile, be happy. Go. The positive attitude that you bring out of yourself can, like you said, infect others. So
that kind of stuff is not normally taught, right? That stuff you've either got or you haven't. So have you got an entrepreneurial family, or kind of where did you pick that kind of stuff up from?
For me, no entrepreneurial family, but I go by watching other people and leading. For me, it's leading by example and viewing how other people act. So again, the early days of Studio Hawk, because I started, Harry was like that. I was sort of like that as a person, but it's helped me to develop that even more, dealing with more and more people. So yeah, it's a bit of myself, but also from seeing other people and using them as examples.
Go on, Archie.
No. That's what I was going to say. So if you starting a new business in a completely new market, which you hadn't worked in before, I'm assuming, what give the listeners here some what are the 3 main things that you would advise people to do
when you're starting a new business? I would say.
I appreciate there's a lot.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I think your point on proposition is probably one to start, right? That actually, in any market, it's really hard to differentiate, and so being absolutely rock solid in your proposition is probably a great place to start.
Mate, you're right. It's understanding what you're offering. If you do not have a clear message in what you're offering, whether that be your brand, your marketing, your actual service, if you're trying to cater to everyone, you'll get no one. So you're right. A clear proposition, a clear service offering. So that people can understand, because if the potential clients out there can't understand what you do and you can't explain it to them, they'll never get it. You'll never be able to sell to anyone.
Yeah.
So clear messaging is one. Investing in people. I know as a startup it's hard, but you're going to try and find people where you can. And for us at Studio Hawk, we just took the punt on a lot of people. A lot of the early hires at Studio Hawk were not from conventional backgrounds. They weren't from university. Like I did a sport management degree, not related to SEO, but we saw a lot of the people that came after me saw the intangibles of working hard, being inquisitive, enthusiastic.
So you
wanting to
guys
learn.
have hired on attitudes and beliefs as opposed to skill set, right?
Yeah, for sure, and that's led us to some good success in the first 5 years.
I think that's really important for anyone listening and watching as well, actually, is that that recruitment process doesn't have to be the finished article, right? And Harry and you guys have shown that.
Yeah, like my journey, I got the job at Studio Hawk because Studio Hawk was working out of a co-working space that my mate had built, and he had told him, you got to get this guy, and then they brought me in for a trial just to appease him, and I worked hard. And I proved my way, and they liked me, and they got me on board. It wasn't through that I got A+ in university or I did that degree. I generally don't think anyone from Studio Hawk at the moment has been hired that had a university degree in anything relevant to SEO. It was because of their attitude, their demeanor, their intangibles as a person that we can see as okay. These people these people have got some drive. They've got vision. They can see that they can really make a life for themselves if they join Studio Hawk, and it's been quite a good process and good journey in the first few years.
So what's been the biggest challenge for Studio Hawk? Well, kind of at the moment, I guess.
In terms of Australia, Studio Hawk Australia, it's maintaining that position and always driving to innovate, improving your skill set. Because there's always going to be a competitor. There's always going to be someone around the corner that's going to try and chase you. And you never know when you get complacent until something bad happens. So it's always maintaining that drive and always trying to get the best out of yourself.
Never getting too comfortable.
Exactly. So that's probably the main one. In the UK, again, it's building the brand, building the networks. We are still a very small fish. So it's just getting around a lot of people and networking and building that base so then we can build on for the future.
I'm sure Harry's told you this a lot, but you should be incredibly proud of the kind of journey you've been on. And every time I see you at a networking event, there's always that beaming smile. And it's been great to kind of do some work together and spend some time together. We really appreciate you coming on and joining us today. I hope the listeners and watchers have found it useful. We're going to join this episode with David Morley from Pimento, who I know has been a massive influence in kind of your journey as well.
Yeah.
Great bloke.
So yeah, top bloke. But no, really appreciate you coming. Thank you. Our first international guest. And
thank you.
Flown all the way from Australia.
Mate, 24 hours to be here with you guys.
Absolutely. You're going to jump back on the plane in an hour, yeah?
Mate, don't worry.
Absolutely awesome, mate. Thanks so much.
Thank you, fellas.
Thanks.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Addicted to Business. Today I'm delighted to be joined by David Morley from Pimento. Now, before I introduce him properly and say hello, I just wanted to tell you a little story about Pimento. 12 months ago, we joined the Pimento network, and I'd never heard anything about it. Pimento is an organisation that helps businesses refer to each other and also helps build agency communities. Today, we're going to talk to David all about his journey and what he's done and why Pimento's been so good for us. I'm also joined, as always, by my co-host and good friend, Stokely Howard.
Thank you for having me today.
And finally, hello, Mr. David Morley.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, thank you for travelling up to London. I really appreciate that.
No, it's great to come up to Norwich. Great city, been up here a few times, and some great people. Love coming up.
So we enjoyed dinner last night and we went to Waggers.
Did we enjoy dinner last night?
I'm sure we'll talk about it some
I
night.
really enjoyed dinner last night, but hey, a couple of things I didn't have, but life has to go on.
Exactly right. So today I really want to talk about your journey at Pimento, because actually your story before Pimento is a remarkable one in terms of, was it working with an agency that worked with brands like Rover and some big companies?
I've been very fortunate. I've worked in the marketing industry my entire life, pretty well from day one. And I've worked on some great brands, done some really exciting things, and really enjoyed it. So basically, I've worked on, what were considered in their days legendary campaigns like Castrol GTX, liquid engineering campaigns that ran a long time ago. And I worked on the Rover business this is when I first met Stephen Knight, the guy who set up Pimento. Pimento was formed 15 years ago, just had our 15th birthday. And we're a virtual agency. We started business as a virtual agency. So we are out pitching for business and trying to win that business. And that's the sort of business we then feed into the network and allows us to generate business for our members. In addition to that, then there's cross-referral of business between members needing services they don't have naturally within their own businesses. And then in addition to that, needing additional support in terms of augmenting their existing teams. So there are various models within it. So we're a virtual agency and then a network of 200. We just signed our 200th member of
Amazing.
And we're really lucky. We've got great members.
Well, I think it's important to say that it's a trusted community that you're building. I went to my first Pimento last month, I think it was, and you can, as soon as you walk in the room, everyone's happy. The networking is good, it's structured, and it's a great community that you're building, and it's very evident. I went there for 10 minutes, and it was evident that was the case.
Yeah, we've been doing those 6 p.m. clubs now for 15 years. It's not the first time we've done it. And we had 101 people at that event. Which is, pretty amazing, really. And you're right, it's a very friendly, and we operate as a big team. Yeah. Everybody understands how the business operates, and we've got great members. I'm in that room with 100 odd people, and there isn't anybody in that room I wouldn't refer across to either another member or to a client. I know that they're really good at what they do, and our business ethic is based around honesty, trust and integrity. We've got that in the network in spades, and we've got lovely people we like working with. Could be better, really.
Well, let's build upon that, because actually for anyone listening, while they may not be in agency land as such, actually honesty, integrity and those core principles are important no matter what walk of life you operate in.
Yeah, totally. Let's be honest about it. If you have got any moral ethics, you've got to live by those. I like sleeping at night. Works for me. Not done a very good job. But the point is that that those ethics apply in any business that you're in. And I think specifically in my life, it has been within marketing. I've been, for a short time, I've been on the client side. I've had that function as well. Sure. But predominantly, I've been more, I'd say to people, what's my background? I'm an old ad man, basically. That's what I did. And that's what I've enjoyed doing. And it was a lot of fun doing it in those days. And I'm lucky now to be working with a lot of really good people that operate in a similar environment.
One of the great things about Pimento I've found is, and I encourage anybody out there, no matter if you're in agency life or not, is to surround yourself with like-minded individuals in your sector, and Pimento facilitates that. And that was epitomised by the conference last year. So how many did you have in the conference in the end?
We had 144 attendees.
So 144 people all coming together, and some of the speakers, we're not talking tin pot agencies. There's some of the biggest agencies in the UK and beyond.
Steve Woodward, who's the chief exec of the Advertising Association, was there, for example. We had 144 people who paid to attend.
Yeah.
And it was our first time. And the most positive thing is the feedback we've had from that is that, they want us to do it again. So there will be the Pimento conference again in 2020. I think that's going to be announced in the next few weeks, exactly when it's going to be. It's likely to be in September again. It was last year. And, you know, Stephen Knight was the founder of Pimento's, got a great network, and very fortunate for him to be able to pull together some great people.
And so on that topic, actually, at the conference, there were some real gems of information. Now, while I don't want to, obviously, for anyone listening and watching in agency world, should go and attend, but actually one of the things was said, I believe it was the founder of Adam and Eve. There was a couple of absolute gems that they were saying around pitching, and the one that really stuck out was the thing about relationships.
Yeah, I think there were two things that came out of that particular part of the conference. Was one, and again, okay, this is specifically talking in agency land, but I think it applies to any business. And we'll use the words pitch because that's what we do. The statement was made that a lot of agencies pitch too much. They need to be more selective. Look at the pitch opportunities they have. Instead of trying to do 10 and not doing them terribly well, you know, maybe do 3 or 4, but max them and try and win them to get a better win rate. There's nothing worse than pitching like crazy, not winning it. It's just totally demotivating for you, and the time expensive, time consuming. So I think it's important to be quite selective of the businesses you go for, and that applies in any business. You know, if you're chasing down a contract in whatever sphere it should be looking at it and saying, do I really want that business? You know, is it the sort of business that's going to be good for my business, will allow me to grow as a business, but not only that, will that person be able to grow with me? I mean, it's not just a short-term hit and run. Got some real growth.
You should be looking at it as long-term.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that came out of one of the comments was about chemistry meetings. When you meet people, getting a bit of a feeling that, you know, is this a person I want to work with? Yeah. Whether they be an individual or a client, you've got to sit there and say, you know, is this going to be a good thing for both of us? And if you feel that it's not going to be good, then walk away. I mean, you know, I always use the analogy of the little man sitting on your shoulder whispering in your ear. You know, listen to him occasionally. It's not a bad thing.
Absolutely. And it doesn't matter if you're a builder, a plumber, a solicitor, an accountant, an agent, whatever it is. Actually, we're all coming face to face with clients, and we have a duty to select. Just like they select us to come and have a conversation, we also have the ability to say, you know what, that's not for us.
I've got a good friend of mine who's a builder, and he'll tell you that he's had a couple of clients in the past where he's known they were going to be aggro. Yeah. and 9 times out of 10 they end up being aggro. So why don't you just walk away at the start instead of giving you all that
absolutely time, money, the list goes on.
Life's too short.
Exactly right. So actually, now you're involved in Pimento and doing all this stuff with them. If you could go back in time, what would you do differently?
Well, that's a really good question. Personally, I would say not a lot. But I was the only thing that I had an opportunity fairly early on to go into TV production, actually as a producer within the agency. And it's probably the one thing that I look back and think, actually, you know, maybe I should have considered doing that. Yeah. It would have been fun. But having said that, you know, I've enjoyed my time in advertising agencies and generally within marketing. I've been a little bit more fortunate that, you know, the era that I worked in was in the days when there were some great TV commercials made, some great commercials out there. Yeah. You look at them and they're legendary stuff. I must say, I see a lot of TV commercials now. You see, that's the thing for me. I can't call them out as their TV commercials. That's what they'll always be to me.
And you can't watch them properly either, like a consumer. You dissect every part of it.
You've got to look at it. And there aren't that many now that get me in the same way as some of the old great commercials that I used to see.
And why is that?
I just think that I think clients have... there's a bit of I mean, TV commercials, and I see them almost as being just a commodity. They're a short-term thing. I mean, we used to make... I mean, you know, I've been very fortunate. I made TV commercials with Ridley Scott, you know, as a producer, as a director, which is pretty amazing, really. Yeah. Hollywood star that he is now. Yeah. You know, we've worked with some amazing people. I just don't know. I think that I think also the longevity. We used to make a TV commercial as a campaign. That campaign could run for, and maybe even up to a year. So when you spent a lot of money, you've got a great commercial, you ran it. I think now there's so much more churn on that sort of thing. They don't have the longevity that we used to have.
Well, the consumers are consuming information and content a lot more fast, way much more faster than they have than ever.
Well, yeah, I mean, we all know. I mean, the TV in the corner of the room is dying. It's even I consume as much content now on my iPad as I do watching conventional TV set.
So how have you stayed ahead of the game? Because in a lot of the roles you've had, you've been fairly senior and working with some massive brands. So did you have a mentor, or are you consulted, or do you read a lot, or how do you stay on top of it all?
I think it's just working with good people.
Surrounding
myself with people.
Like 90, for example.
Stephen's great. I mean, we've known each other for a long time. He's a business colleague and a close personal friend. And, we're really lucky. And the great thing is that I think in terms of the way we operate, we're very different.
Yeah.
Because if we were the same, we'd probably have killed each other by now. So we're quite fortunate, he's got things that he brings to the party, and hopefully I've got things I bring to the party as well. But overall, it's working with good people that you respect, and people who actually, at the end of the day, want to enjoy what they're doing.
Of course.
I mean, there's no point doing something where it becomes a drudge. I mean, I'd say to anybody, again, I use the expression "life is too short." It is. You've got to be doing things here that you want to be doing, enjoy doing, and get satisfaction from.
This is the thing, right? You've got one shot, and time is finite.
This isn't a practice run.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I think that, again, thinking about the audience, there'll be some people out there that are looking to go from employed life over to self-employment, and there'll be some people that have maybe just started out in self-employment. What advice would you give to them in terms of starting their journey?
Well, I'll give you a good example. I can't mention names clearly, but
Sure.
there's somebody that I've been talking to recently who was working for a business, and I spoke to him probably about 6-9 months ago, and he said, "Look, I'm thinking of going on my own." And I said to him, he was, I think, about 40, and I said to him, go for it. You don't want to sit back, get to 50 and think, I wish I'd done that.
You always regret things you don't
absolutely.
do.
Give it a go.
Yeah.
If you think you've got a good idea, or you've got something that somebody wants to go out and buy, whatever commodity it might be, a service or a product, then if you feel that you've got something to offer, then give it a go. And try and use as much help and support from people you've worked with in the past in terms of getting your delivery correct. And I think that particular person is about to go live with his own business, hopefully in the next sort of couple of months. And interestingly enough, I think he's got a very interesting product that he's going to be introducing, and good luck to him. I wish him all the best. I say, for a couple of reasons, I can't mention names here, but
when it's out, hopefully it's
but I mean, it's been great to actually sort of help and support him and try and give him the reassurance that it can be a bit lonely, right?
Definitely.
You feel that. I mean, I think actually one of the great things that Pimento gives smaller businesses is that you're sitting in your office on your own and you're thinking, it's just me. But if you're part of the Pimento network, you do know that look over your shoulder and you feel like there's not this community behind
a family,
you.
as you'd say.
A family to help out when you need it. So I think it's helped quite a few smaller businesses from that point of view.
So one thing I'd like to touch upon as well is, you just touched upon it briefly there, is understanding the proposition, because you spend a lot of time with agencies, and agencies in particular, but actually any business. So many of them don't understand what they're offering or their proposition, and they just essentially fall into it, offer a product or service, and then wonder why it's not sticking.
Yeah. Again, you're right. I see lots of businesses. Again, in the marketing space, but the point is, you've got to understand your proposition. You really do need to know what you're selling and who you're trying to sell it to. And if you don't understand those real basic fundamentals of business, well, we'll start again and work it out, basically. Because if you don't know that, and I think, again, I look at lots of websites, and whatever we think, a lot of clients and other people in business do go and look at websites. And, I don't know what the dwell time on a homepage is, but you've got to get that message across.
Yeah, not long.
Yeah, it's I think at one time I heard a few years ago it was 7 or 8 seconds. It's probably halved that now. It's probably halved. But the point is, you need that homepage has got to be the page that says, "This is who we are. This is what we do."
Yeah,
that's it. And hopefully it's enough to grip them and say, right, I want to learn more. Or if you don't get them, they'll just click off and go on to the next site.
Yeah.
This is something we've always said. It's essentially how can you, as quickly as possible, solve someone's problem, because we're all in a time finite world. So it's like, okay, is this the right person for me? Yes, it is. Great. I can go and learn more about their history and how they started and everything on another page. But the first thing you want to see is, can they solve my problem? Yes or no? And then I can carry on the journey from there.
Absolutely. And if you haven't got those fundamentals right, the bottom line is, if you don't know that, how can you go out and sell it?
Exactly right. And how can any of your team? And so one thing I just want to finish on is that the Pimento network is and any network like that allows you to open doors. And that's one topic I want to leave the listeners and viewers on, is that it's really important that you find communities or people that can open doors, because this business world is sometimes a difficult one, and having people around you that can open doors is absolutely vital.
You're absolutely right. There are some people that are naturally good at it.
Yeah.
I have to say that Stephen is particularly good at that. He's got a great network. He's really very persistent, much better at it than I am. And, and again, that's probably going back to that point I made a bit earlier about, what he's good at and what I'm good at. I know what I'm good at. He knows what he's good at.
Yeah.
And we're in that position.
Play to your strengths.
Play to your strengths.
Yeah.
But, business is about meeting people, talking to people, making sure they understand what you can do and the benefits that you can accrue by working with them.
Yeah.
And it really isn't that difficult. I don't think it is, unless I've missed something. But I think some people overcomplicate these things.
Yeah.
Keep it simple and make sure that you know what your story is. Stick by it, communicate it clearly, and give people confidence that if they're going to work with you, you can deliver what you say you're going to deliver.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Deliver on your promises.
And enjoy doing it at the same time.
And I think that's the perfect note to finish, isn't it? Is that no matter what you're doing out there, no matter what business you're in or thinking about going in, the absolutely underlying feature is to enjoy it. Because at the end of the day, you've got to enjoy it.
That's why you don't work for other people, because you don't enjoy that. So at least enjoy it.
You've got to enjoy it, because sometimes you're at work more than you're at home. And therefore, you need to enjoy the journey.
Totally, absolutely agree. And I have to say, I always have a lot of fun working with you guys, and it's great coming back to Norwich. And
it's a great city. It's a fine city, actually.
And let's just hope our friends at that restaurant we talked about a few minutes ago have got the chili.
Managed to get the chili squid in. Fine. But David, once again, I really appreciate all you and the Pimento Network have done for us, and hopefully we're going to be doing with Trendy Granite soon. And I look forward to catching up again soon.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye-bye.